Testing. Okay. Call the meeting to order at about 12:17. And so you want to do the roll call?
Board Member Yankovich,
Present.
Board Member Doyle,
Yes.
Board Member Howe,
Here.
Board Member Larkin,
Here.
Board Member Lonick,
Here.
Board Members Catlin, McClure, and Springer are absent, and Chair Reagan.
Present. Need a motion to approve the those that are absent.
So moved.
Second. Is there a second?
Yes.
Okay, Brian Doyle. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And we need approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Okay, a motion by Cliff and second by Brian. Any changes or corrections to the agenda? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And everyone got a copy from the previous meeting from November 6th. And we'll need a motion to approve those minutes.
Sure.
Okay, Cliff, is there a second?
Second.
Mark? And any corrections or comments on the minutes from last time? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And moving on to the treasurer's report.
Current balance is $504,690.39. Winter tax bills just went out, so I'll be collecting the winter tip probably by the next meeting. You'll see more tip of revenue coming in now that tax bills are gone out.
Any questions for Sue? Need a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
So moved.
Okay, Mike, and second?
Second.
Dean, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And public comments for items not on the agenda. Seeing none, we'll move on to old business, which is the downtown development plan update. Mark?
The plans have been developed, the consultants are working on cost estimates, and they expect to have things wrapped up and to make a presentation to the DDA at your January meeting.
And how will that be presented to like city council, or is that something after we approve it? And
Yeah, it really is a DDA project, but so it'll be presented to the DDA, and then you would accept it or reject it, and then there wasn't any formal plan for a formal presentation to the council, but I think maybe we do need to work that out somehow. But yeah.
I think after if we tweaked it, if we did, not all of it's going to be implemented, if anything.
Right.
It's just a plan that they came up with the meetings that they had.
Right.
So.
I think the thing I was going to throw out then too, relating to that, is that perhaps in February or March, we talk about setting a date for a workshop for the DEA, because the idea behind this was that we would use this, ideas from this, maybe there are other ideas that we have for future capital projects. Let's try to get them all on board. Let's try to prioritize those out, and then let's put together a capital budget over 5-10 years, and have something to work off from. That's probably more than we can do at the normal business meeting. So maybe we look at an evening, or heaven forbid a Saturday, maybe an evening date where we could spend 2 or 3 hours sort of going through that facilitation process.
Okay. Old business again, no motion that we need to take on that, but South Monroe proposed parking lot.
Well, and I think, it's an old business item for you, but I think it's going to come up under,
Okay.
I think it's fairly similar to Mr. Canfield and discussion with him, so we can just cover it all at once.
Okay, we'll move right on to the new business then. Greg Canfield's going to provide update on the 200 block.
Podium is set up for rotary, turn it around.
And actually, rather than providing an update, I can let you know where we're at on the 210 Moose building. That the Main Street Barbecue is the name of the restaurant that we'll be locating in there. Erin Van Epps and her partner Joe Ziegler were in at previous meetings, and they're moving forward with plans. They hope to be open June, July of next summer. And my reason for being here is just to try to keep this parking lot plan moving along, find out where we're at on that. The rezoning is going on to allow the property purchase to be made. Although one purchase was done earlier, the zoning doesn't allow that small of a industrial piece to be split off. So Brent Slagle's building is up to be rezoned shortly here in the next week to 10 days, and then that will allow the small parcel to be split off, which will allow these trades to start happening. But I just was hoping that we could start getting some progress on, there's some utility upgrades that need to be done there, sewer and water across the back. And we at one point talked about hopefully that would happen, get started this fall, which was very optimistic. And it may be optimistic that it can even happen next summer, but I'm just trying to keep this thing moving forward as much as possible. And that's why I'm here to ask Mark can fill us in on where things are at on his end. Thank you.
I think the next step for the city is, and I have a meeting scheduled this afternoon, is to have a discussion with one of the other property owners back there. It's with King Milling, and we have a lease with them for construction of a portion of the parking lot, and I think we just need to firm up that discussion a little bit. And then the other thing that we will need to know is that Mr. Canfield has talked about the potential of, with the swap with the city, that there be approximately a 20-foot buffer behind the buildings, and there are some issues that would need to be worked out with all the other property owners in terms of who owns what and how we do those property swaps. And before we get too far in the design process, we need to have some assurance that that is actually going to happen. We're going to have that 20-foot buffer, because then we have to pay engineers to look at relocating water and sewer lines. We have to have a discussion with Lane Power. I think there's an electrical line there as well. And so we've got to talk about where these utilities are going to be located in terms of this 20-foot buffer. So we kind of need to know for sure whether or not that's going to be doable, whether or not that 20-foot buffer is going to happen. So that, and I'm not pushing the decision somewhere. I mean, we mutually need to sort of work that out and know that that's what's going to happen. And then after that, it's a matter of getting the engineers going on the design. They've done you had approved the survey work. The survey work is done. They've given us a preliminary sketch. I think we talked about that, and I handed out copies of that at the last meeting. There's an issue about whether or not we remove and maybe replant some of the pine trees that are back there. There's going to be some consideration in terms of drainage, and not only drainage for the parking lot, but you've got the semi-parking that is south of that I'm sure a concern for King Milling is going to be drainage from that and making sure that the parking lot doesn't spill into their semi-parking lot. And so we're going to have to work through those issues in terms of design. But that's where we're at in the process, and we can still keep taking steps forward. And yeah, I want to have asphalt at least for a few spots done this fall, but with the utility relocations and the 20-foot buffer, that wasn't possible. But we'll keep moving forward.
All right, thank you.
Okay. And anything, Mark, that the DDA can do, to expedite that, I think it's, it's going to help the development and stuff. So as far as infrastructure and stuff, handicap ramps and things like that come into play, that's right down our alley as far as helping out in that capacity. That's pretty cut and dry as far as what our, purpose is for. So anything you can do to help out would be appreciated. Okay.
Yeah, I guess I'm glad you mentioned that, and I'm assuming, and I don't think incorrectly, but correct me if I'm wrong, I'm assuming that this is a very high priority and not the top priority for the DDA right now, because we have a potential business coming in, it's an area of downtown that really needs the infrastructure improvements. The DDA's always been very supportive of infrastructure improvements, and so this is, I would say, your number one priority right now, unless I hear otherwise.
And, just the design of the downtown over the last, 100 years, obviously when parking was, a premium, and then a lot of the parking got taken off. It's a great opportunity to use that space behind it. So I'm glad we've kind of helped out in that capacity, but just the use of the property has changed over the years, and people used to walk downtown and live downtown, and now everyone goes everywhere in their cars, and we just need that many more parking spots. So that's the only block that really doesn't have anything in the front or the back. So, okay. Any other comments on that topic from the board? Reports and member comments? Cliff?
What? I'm watching the big dumpster get filled over and over and over. I can't wait to see what's going in next door.
Brian?
Short meeting.
It's not over with yet? Anybody else?
Just one thing to mention to you too. We've been working with a potential restaurant, and there is other interest in the developmental liquor licenses. And we're pulling together the paperwork that's required, and then part of it is also identifying what the private and public investment has been, and then that all has to be submitted to the Liquor Control Commission. I'm still talking with the city attorney about whether or not the city council has to adopt a resolution identifying the DDA as a development zone, or perhaps changes in the law a few years ago, which just makes that automatic, and so we don't need to go through that resolution process. So I have to sort that piece of the equation out. But because of the investment that's been done in the DDA district, there will be a significant number of developmental liquor licenses available for the DDA area. And that's a real positive for what I envision to be an upcoming and booming restaurant industry in this community. So just want to share that information.
Good. Anything else? Next meeting will be January 8th. Unless, and then the presentation would be different.
That'd be
Okay.
yeah. And then my hope is that we would talk about a workshop date where we would have a little bit more time. And it could be after, I don't know, we can talk about scheduling at the January meeting, but
Okay.
maybe later in January or February or March. We'll plan on spending some time in priority setting.
Okay, we need a motion to adjourn. So, Dean, is there a second? Brian? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? You can stay and have a happy Christmas. See you next year.